my first trip here when I was working with Satyam in high-tech city. It was not called high-tech city then. Only Cyber Towers was existing. And we had the Satyam campus very far away. I don't know how far that is from here. But I came in here when that campus had just got inaugurated. Right? So I was in Satyam from 98 to 2005. And we also had a inter-city Satyam cricket tournament in the Hyderabad cricket stadium here. So very nostalgic memories of Hyderabad, that came to my mind when I was landing into the city today. So thank you so much everyone for taking time. Today we are combining two events, Block Meet and Founders Day. Block Meet is our Web3 community building initiative. I'll talk to you a little bit about it. It's happening in 36 global cities around the world. We are expecting about 1,000 odd people to show up since 9 a.m. morning till 9 a.m. tomorrow morning across the world, and super excited in how that is shaping up. So my name is Bimlesh Rao and I'm the co-founder at Foundership. We are a Web3 accelerator who is very strongly believing in building a strong Web3 network, so that not only our portfolio startups can benefit, but also bringing in the entire ecosystem together of Web3 believers, partners, and investors and startups together across the world to enable there is a lot more movement in enabling trust, transparency and scalability. So our big key values are three that we bring into the table is coaching, capital and community. I'll talk to you a little bit on what each one of those does. That's what differentiates us from several other accelerators around the world. Over the last 6-7 months, we started Foundership as an accelerator 2 years ago. We were a Web2 accelerator focusing on SaaS and D2C companies. And 2022 is when we saw the opportunity that everything that we did with coaching, capital and community in the Web2 space has a true meaning and the belief as an ecosystem in the Web3 space. And that's how we pivoted and with our focus to Web3 in June 2022 last year. And in last 7 months, it's been some unbelievable journey that we have had. We have grown a community of about to 5,000 odd people now, and each month we are adding on new 1,000 people through our Block Meet community initiatives. Our coaching model is very unique. We have onboarded close to 50 plus global coaches around the world. Two of our coaches and well-wishers are here, Praveen and Sai. And we'll be adding more global coaches as well into our ecosystem. From a capital point of view, we have now partnered with 40 plus global capital partners who enable access to funds depending on when our portfolio of startups are ready to raise money. In a few months down the line, Foundership will have its own fund coming in through our Foundership Capital, where Foundership will also start investing in these promising Web3 startups. We run a very unique model on how we evaluate and select startups. We run an incubation program called 0xCamp, which is what we are culminating in today. It's a 3-week rolling incubation program where a startup applies, the team and the coach DAO together looks at these applications and then assigns a coach for 3 weeks. And it is during these 3 weeks, which are extremely goal-driven, that the assessment takes place that are you a good fit for the acceleration program or not. And this 3 weeks is completely free, but yet what we are seeing, 60% of founders are not able to pull through a 3-week focused effort of execution. And for us, one of the key factors of evaluating startups and especially founding teams is to look at your execution focus and rigor. Right? If that's missing, then that's a big red flag for us that you just don't have it in you to execute. That matters to us. Right? And that forms a critical part of our launch camp. Over the last 6 months, we have run 2 cohorts. We've been able to build a portfolio of 14 startups. One of our portfolio startup is here today. He's going to be talking about what he's doing in the Web3 space, some really cool things that he's building, and he'll also talk about his progress that he has seen himself build over the last 4 or 5 months now in the program. Our coaches come from all over the world. We have coaches who are founders themselves in the Web3 space. We have coaches from the investor community. We have coaches who are business leaders in top Web3 companies. So right from Singapore to Europe to India to US is where some of our coaches come in today. This is a snapshot of our team, slightly little dated. We have added more team members into our into foundership now. Until December, we are a team of 4. As of today, we now have become a team of 8. Santosh and I are the co-founders. We have Pranav, who leads our capital initiatives based out of Dubai. We have Banu, who is head of our technology based out of Singapore. So we ourselves are a very remote and distributed team. And we are backed by both in kind and in intellectual capital, right? Some of the top names in the Web3 space, like Wazir, ex-co-founder Nischil. We got Mohit Madan, we got Sumit Ghosh, we got Prashant from Storm Protocol. A bunch of these guys not only see a great value in partnering with us and enabling this ecosystem creation and extending support to founders, because each one of them went through this journey, and when they were going through this journey, such an ecosystem did not exist. Now, some of you, as I was talking here today, might had this question, and it is a very common question that comes in. What do coaches do and why do they associate with you? We'll also have Sai to share some perspective about it. He's also a coach at Foundership. One of the key things that we enable, Web3 is all about rewarding for your participation and engagement. So at 0xCamp, which is our acceleration program, it's a program where we take in 1.5% equity, and 1/3 of this equity is parked as reward for the coaches who commit their support and time for a particular cohort, right? And that's how when liquidation happens, that pool becomes available to the coaches as reward. So coaches don't come in here to earn their monthly revenue or income, but they come in here to enable great impact by spending right quality time with the right founder. And that power is possible only when there is a great meet of minds. There have been a lot of coaches that we have interacted, but due to lack of ethos and lack of belief system, we had to drop them and bring in only people who believe in long-term impact and wealth creation point of view. This is a short list of our ecosystem partners. This is growing each month, both from a capital network and from a protocol network or from a platform network point of view. As I said, we are very big in community building. Until January last year, we had our community initiative called 0x Breakfast. It used to happen on third Thursday as a breakfast in every city. In India, we did it in about 18 cities last year. From Jan, based on the community feedback, we rebranded. It's now called BlockMeet. Now it happens in 36 global cities around the world. And the best part of this is each one of the city leads is a volunteer in the community, right? And this is a true global community-led movement where the belief is to say that, hey, I can't do this month on month alone all by myself, but if I have a support system like this, and there are more volunteers like me, I would love to be part of this journey. And that's how we have been able to scale from 18 to 36 in about 60 days ever since we rebranded. We also run a virtual live show Web3 Tools initiative. This is a bi-weekly webinar that runs where we call in some amazing Web3 builders to demonstrate what they are building and show real use cases to the community. There are a lot of naysayers to say that Web3 is all fluff. It's only about monkey images and random speculation on what an NFT value is. But this we have seen. We have so far demonstrated about 22 plus tools and products over the last 7 months, and unbelievable amount of interaction, engagement, and curiosity that the community has been able to see. Truly, that some amazing tools and products have been able to showcase. Lastly, we run several masterclasses focused for our accelerator, which are also focused for 0xCamp, which is our incubation program. Starting March, we are now opening up masterclasses to be an ongoing activity all throughout the year, so that anyone who is keen in learning that specific topic is more than welcome to come in and join in. This is how our launch camp program is set up. We have a rolling 3-week program, 0xCamp, and then supported by coaching capital and community. This is what happens in our 0xCamp 3-week program. Ideally, people who apply for this are at an idea stage with a good co-founding team. You might be doing it as they might be doing it as a side hustle or even as a full-time job. Startups with an MVP or startups with MVP with early traction. These are typically the type of founders who kind of come into our 0xCamp program. It is at the end of the 0xCamp program, we run this physical event called Founders Day in 2 cities each quarter. So today we are having the same Founders Day in Bangalore and Hyderabad. Last quarter we did Bangalore and Mumbai. Next quarter will be in Bangalore and NCR. And another quarter will be in Bangalore and Chennai. So that's how we take the Founders Day as an event to invite current builders, future builders to come network, mingle with people so that you understand that you're not alone, you have an ecosystem to support you. Post the 0xCamp is when the launch camp starts. Our launch camp is programmed very contextually different, where you get access to 2 to 4 coaches, and these coaches are assigned to each startup based on what goals you want to achieve on your 90-day plus 90-day goals. So for example, if Divya is a founder and she's great in marketing and her co-founder is great in tech, but they're weak in community and weak in product, they get coaches on product and community. Whereas if Shubham is on the completely opposite, he gets a coach on marketing and on product. Right? So that's how contextual coaching enables that you get what you need and you are able to move forward in the speed that you want to move forward and not marry yourself to a one-size-fits-all approach. Our short-term aim is to accelerate about 200 plus startups in 3 years because we run this program each quarter, and we already have a portfolio of global startups. We have one company from Brazil, one company from Canada, and the rest of the companies are from India out of our 14 startups today. And in the last 90 days, our application distribution proportion has changed, where 60% applications are now from India and 40% applications are from the rest of the world. Right? So this moment of time has already happened, that we are seeing an influx that such a structure does not exist for early stage builders across the world, and that is enabling them to look at foundership as an option. We are a very built-in public type of an accelerator. You'll find a lot of community conversations around foundership, 0xCamp. Just go tweet about it, talk about it, or even search about it. You will know what foundership has been doing. So taking this one activity for each one of you today, we believe in a give first philosophy at foundership. Shubham might have got bored of it, but yet I'm going to keep repeating it. This is one of our cultural beliefs, right? All of us are here today to have a takeaway, right? But if everybody is taking, who is giving? Right? So that circle is only complete when you give first, because when you give first, somebody is always receiving it, right? So any person that you network today, you like that conversation, appreciate that person. And best way to appreciate it is, this is the right way to appreciate in public. Tweet about them, connect with them, share what you learned from them. And when you talk to them, you say that this is what I can help you with. That's a great way to network, great way to give, and that's how you build relationships in a networking activity. A short glimpse of our portfolio. Shubham is one of our portfolio companies. He runs Oriel, a decentralized podcasting platform for creators. He technically competes with Spotify or with Amazon Music. If those who, very few people might be listening to Amazon Music, but Spotify is more popular, so he competes with Spotify. He's right here. He's been building it for 3 years. Amazing guy, has driven down from Nagpur. He's one of those wacky guys who does such stuff. But talk to him about what he is building, how is he building, how is he bootstrapping his venture and now looking to raise funds. Some great interesting conversations you might have. We have got Zot, a very strong team from Bangalore. They are building fractionalized token assets of digital assets starting from real estate. We got Trickle, who is building a microblogging platform for content creators, engaged to our philosophy. We got Recorum, which is a Canadian-based company, which is doing Web3 hiring with a very interesting way that every candidate's resume is data, and how do you monetize data as a candidate, right? So they have a very different take on monetizing resumes as a candidate. So you apply to earn before you even get a job, because your resume is now floating across multiple references, even you knowing where your resume has gone into. So you got a bunch of these companies. Fidgetalize is doing very interesting with the Adobe ecosystem of creative designers, where in 3 clicks, now in Adobe Photoshop or in Illustrator, in 3 clicks you can actually launch an NFT. Right? In our second portfolio, there's a non-OTA company here. This company is tokenizing hotel room bookings. So if you are unable to travel to, say, Marina in Dubai and you have a hotel booking, you want to sell, you want to cancel. If you cancel, you lose all your money. But what if it was an NFT and you could trade it, right? And when you sell that NFT as a hotel booking, that booking is now available to me when I buy it, and I can go and enjoy the December 25th holiday in Marina, right? So tokenizing hotel room bookings is what Book is doing. Sapient is doing very interesting. In the real world, all of us, many of our parents have wills, but in crypto, when everything is very encrypted format, how do you create a will? How do you transfer assets? That's the problem that Sapient is trying to solve. We got Corners from Brazil trying to solve mental health problem by connecting content creators with that type of audience and enabling again their engaged to earn from a content creator point of view. Ticket, if any of you haven't yet scanned, please scan this QR code. You will get a NFT POP, which is proof of active participation. This is actually powered by one of our portfolio companies called Ticket. It's an NFT ticketing company. Started by 3 young third-year college students from Shiv Nadar University in Chennai. So while we are all speaking about founders, we have also thought about one other ecosystem that has not yet been touched, is developers. So how many developers in the house? Great. So if you were to learn Web3 and if you were to tinker on the sides on your ideas, in Q2 we will soon be launching something for you called Project Camp. So Project Camp is going to be an opportunity for all Web3 developers to come together to start tinkering on your ideas while you're doing something else. And eventually this will kind of become your path, right? You come into Project Camp, tinker, learn Web3, build your skill in Web3, you graduate to 0xCamp the moment you think you're ready to start a business, to build a startup. From 0xCamp you come into Launch Camp. So in a nutshell, you have the Web3 ecosystem, you got your community, you got your coaches. That's how our foundership portfolio gets built, by enabling community partners, capital partners, engagement partners, and a bunch of events. So we call this as our foundership stack, because we are techies ourselves, so we can't live without the word stack ourselves. So this is our foundership stack, which will form its full closure by about Q2 this year. So if you haven't yet joined our community, please join our Telegram community. You can scan this QR code, or you can join on Telegram, search foundership, and you will see a whole lot of conversations which is buzzing live out there. So welcome you once again. Thank you so much for joining in today. And we'll look to shift every startup's Web3 orbit from here and take it forward from here. Thank you. Any quick questions before we get on to the next, before I can invite our 2 speakers for a fireside chat? Great, thank you. I'll be around. If you have any questions, we can catch up offline. I would like to invite Prabir and Sai to come over. So, thank you, Prabir. Thank you, Sai, for coming in today. I know it's Shivratri and yet you guys have made time on a Saturday evening. Thank you so much. Why don't we start with a quick introduction and then we'll get into a conversation.
Hey guys, I'm like a veteran of blockchain world, payment systems. Like the first time was like when I was part of some dark rooms, dark web way back in 2010, trying to figure a currency which does not involve storing credit cards and buy some tools and all this stuff. So that's how I got into Bitcoin mining to the end of 2010 December. And don't think too much about me. Like many builders from that time, I don't have any Bitcoin right now. Whatever I had FTX, I donated to FTX. So coming into this interesting journey, and if any OGs here, probably they'll know me. I used to do Bitcoin meetups in 2013 to 2015 all over the country. That's about me right now. My last project. So my journey was very interesting. I'm a dropout from IT. I made India's first mobile point of sale. I made India's first QR-based payment system that probably you guys are using right now. A precursor to the current UPI. I made a precursor to that way back in 2013, and then I built arbitrage boards. Then I built copy trade platform. Then the last one is the cross-chain bridging protocol. Now something else. I invest a bit. I write small checks here and there, so I have a bit of idea about startups and everything. I was helping one of the large retail clients in India. I help another bank outside India as well. That's about me. I'm decently good in AI and as well as blockchain world because I was lucky to get exposed to them very, very long time ago. So, and I run two companies which run both of them. I have niche AI services and I have a niche blockchain company which does horse services. So that's about it.
Guys, my name is Prabir Mishra. Basically I was an investment banker. For 20 years I did a lot of investment for others. Also I got a good portfolio on the food and agri-tech. Till 2016, rather 2019, I keep on investing in multiple startups and focused mostly into the food and agri. This started something around 2018, 2019 when we look at the blockchain as a technology. We thought that that's going to create a bigger picture. When we talk about the blockchain, though I run a blockchain startup, I'm not a techie. I'm an MBA, I'm from Ahmedabad, but again, I'm not a techie. I don't understand technology, but again, I understand the use cases most. As Bimlesh was saying something that let's not focus on the monkeys and arts and other things. Yes, I used to say that let's solve certain real world use cases. That's the focus. That's the focus when I met Bimlesh and his founder, Santosh Panda. I know him from Explorer days and is a great. So that's how I started. I started in 2019 when somebody from Australia approached us asking that, can you invest in a blockchain? I said, what is this? Let me understand that. Okay, at that point of time, we just understand only three things, Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin. But creating a use case using those protocols is next to impossible. For a traceability, they used to ask gas fees as high as $30, $40. We took a very simple step. We try to understand whether we can create an immutable database, something. So, Amazon QLDB, I don't know how many of you have experienced. Amazon QLDB was the first thought process. So I have my strong team, Praveen, he's a IIT Hyderabad guy. He said, sir, let's build on something on Amazon QLDB and so that it's an immutable database. Our pain point is to address the authenticity. So we focus on creating very low end, I would not say that low end. It's a kind of a finding what you eat or what somebody is selling, is that a proof? Can we find out the source? So we'll focus into food and seed traceability using that. So supply chain traceability is the next big thing. Yes, we did a lot of things, and one of our processes is going for a patent with the university agriculture system. So it's about the seed traceability. If you know something about Telangana and this area, Telangana, there is a place called Tandur. Tandur 2 dal is the best dal in the whole world. It contains the highest content of protein. So they applied for the GI. Recently, last month they got the GI just because of blockchain traceability was behind us. So, in fact, the state has felicitated us in a big way. So we look at the blockchain, how to use the simple agriculture food system use cases. Yes, we've created a platform. Then the things comes, see, when we started 2019, we didn't know this word as a Web3. 2020 also, there was nothing. NFT, tokenization, all these things were not there. But again, it has come in a big way. That point of time, one of our founder, yes, Web3 founder, one of our founder, he was interested. Let's get into NFT, let's get into some digital art. Somehow we stopped, we didn't get into that. That point of time, we look at the climate in a big way. Right now, we are on the big time. I think we are the only startup in the big time which is doing a big on the climate in India. Not only in India, we are launching one of our first global ESG. You know, if you understand ESG, it's environment, social, and governance. The globe is running towards maintaining the temperature around 1.5 degree. So the ESG is becoming very prominent. So every corporates, just a moment, just forget about India. Every corporates in global, they have to declare that what is that ESG count, what is the ESG rating, and what is that carbon footprint they are creating. The moment you know that your carbon footprint is this much, I'm not talking anything on blockchain for a moment. You know this is your carbon footprint, then you can sequence that or you can avoid that. That's the area what we are taking it up. So what we have created initially, so it's a kind of a continuous innovation, what we keep on innovating. We started sending those data sets to blockchain. Then we create the Web3 interface. We've got multi-chain capabilities. Now the data is on the web. People can discover that you have done a real climate action. So then you are tokenizing the carbon credits. The moment we say tokenizing, the first thing somebody is doing it, he said about fractionalization, that's the thing. See, it's all about climate. You are talking of corporate responsibility. It's not that. Climate is our responsibility. Whenever we take a small bottle of Pepsi or Coke, we should know that how much carbon footprint we are creating. Whenever we take a business class flight from Hyderabad to Dubai, you know that how much carbon footprint you are creating. Can we do some difference? Here's the interesting fact we arrived. We say that India is the main dominant of the paddy, of the rice. Okay. Now rice produce, rice cultivation produce India 17% greenhouse gases. Why? Because everything is free. Your state government gives you electricity free, water is free, fertilizer is subsidy, you don't have any control. But if you can curtail on those things, if you can reduce on those things, you let that emission get reduced, and that is going to create a value for you, value for your farmer. That's the idea of what we are focusing. So there is a UNFCCC, and the CDM, Clean Development Mechanism. There is a process and methodology which is certified by Vera and Gold Standard. What are these Vera and Gold Standard? These are the climate guardians or the regulatory or the registered bodies in the world. They certify your climate action. This process and methodology, first we create a digitization or we create into Web3 interfaces to capture the data. Then we send it to the Web3 or blockchain. Then you create the carbon credit, then you create the marketplace. So these are the 3-4 things what we can create. Now how it is helping? Since now when we talk about the carbon credit, the data authenticity, let's say, just think it up, Google, last year they are looking for 200 million carbon credit to offset their compliance side. They didn't get that. They get that, but again, there is no reliability on the data sets. So you get carbon credit from $2 to $20 to $100. There's a company called Kilmar. You might have known that token. They are creating this carbon credit in Web3 interface in global from Amazon forest. Each of the carbon getting fetching a value of $100. Here, the farmers has got a potential to generate 8 carbon credit or 10 carbon credit from a hectare of land. Think it up. If it is a $20, it's creating a $20, $200 opportunity. That's 16,000 rupees. India. This is the first we have started crop cycle. Two crop cycle, it will be 32,000. We started capturing the data. Right now we are getting ready. Our first big time 100,000 carbon credit, just multiplied by 20. That's the value creation. What we are going to put the revenue in next 6 to 9 months time. So we are focusing right now on 3 things: on the seed and food, on the supply chain traceability. Complete is there. We were around 15 clients who were on the revenue. We are running decent amount of revenue. This year we will be closing around a quarter in a year, not a big number. But again, going further, we are also created the first global ESG toolkit using blockchain, which we are launching in Dubai on next Wednesday. So I'm leaving for Dubai tonight. And this is the first global product coming out of Hyderabad, which is blockchain enabled. You can do the complete traceability. We have signed up a couple of international clients. The similar thing is coming up in India next year in Vigyan Bhavan. We are launching next month, 25th of March, we are launching in Vigyan Bhavan. India tool is called as a BRSR, Business Sustainability, BRSR, and Sustainability, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting. This is a mandatory for 1,000 top listed NSE listed company. Now, I don't have any offense on any profession, but here are our smart chartered accountant. They say that we'll write your BRSR. It's not writing your BRSR report. It's how you measure how many units of electricity you are consuming, your employees are consuming, how many on a commutation, how much gas you are burning. So this is all about scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3 recording. Now here we are creating, as an organization, let's say as a co-karma, you know that this is your carbon footprint and this is the way to offset that. So we are in the bottom market. This product is getting launched. Yes, we are a strong 30-35 team working in Hyderabad. We just opened an office in Dubai also for the marketing side. And that's how we are focusing on the tech stack. Yes, we have got Web 2, Web 3, and we are multi-chain. We are working with Hedera, we are working with NIR protocol, we are also working with Rubix in Hyderabad, one of the good protocol company. We are working with Polygon. A couple of the checks are coming from them also. But again, it's not that we are exclusively with one chain. Yeah, there are a lot. If I keep on continuing, then it will never end. So I'm sorry. So 3 things which are coming out of that things. Yes.
Thank you so much, Pradeep. Sai, want to pick your thoughts on what are you seeing post the FTX debacle that happened on the importance of DeFi and what's happening around those?
So very interesting question. After that, so in 2013 to 2015, we always used to say if it's not your wallet, it's not your money. And interestingly, I got the same thing. So what I saw, it is from analysis that we are doing for the past 6 months, more and more money is coming into multi-chain. More money is instead of going to exchanges, the money is coming into multi-chains, and it will continue. This debacle is not going to be the first, or this debacle is not going to be the last. I lost my first $1,000 in one box. That was the first time, and the last time was again. So 2 times, 2 exchanges. So it's very hard. So people are going to go more multi-chain. And interesting to hear, multi-chains also now they're becoming faster. The other day I was with David from Polygon, the ZKVM protocol. If what you're showing is right, I think we are going to see near Web 2 speed in Web 3. It's like before it used to happen, you need to wait, say give a transaction, you need to wait at least a minute to 10 minutes to see the output of it. Now it's not going to be that. It can be near to close to instantaneous. David has shown me something like, David is head of ZKVM for Polygon. If if I'm right, like they can do like 1500 transactions in 2 seconds flat, which is very fast. And ZKV, so they're finalists, not optimistic roll-ups. So yeah, more and more applications we are going to see on chains, more and more modules we are going to see on chains. And interestingly, there's something that I saw very recently. Till 2 years ago also, when we say Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, people used to think you're scammers. Now, if you go and say, boss, this is something, the standard thing that comes out everybody's nowadays, it's a very early stage, lots of new things are going to come out. General public, not forget crypto mad guys like us. We call degens, like, degenerative guys who are mad on crypto. It's not even that. General public, hardware guys who are into ASIC chip designers are saying this to me right now in that. So we're going to see more and more applications now, more and more people coming into it, more and more people coming in properly. So my thoughts.
Fantastic. Thank you. Pradeep, I want to pick your thought. You took a very interesting turn from an investment banker to a startup. Now, being on this side of the world, what was your 2 biggest or 3 biggest unlearnings and learnings that you had to do?
That's the biggest thing. See, when you are on the other side of the table and right now you switch your position, you have to unlearn a lot of things. Okay, money raising is not a simple task. But again, let me tell you, on the conceptual stage, we raise $500,000. Because I know what are the things they are looking for. So when I switch my situation, I know that. Right now also, we are raising a decent amount. But again, the thing is that here, you have to keep on innovating, you have to keep on pivoting from one to other. See, 2 years before, we were just thinking of that food and seed is going to be the big thing, and blockchain traceability, authentication, or the document authentication are going to go in a big way. But that's not the real case. So, I approach AICP, I approach so many governments, state governments. They say big things, but again, when you get into the real world use cases, see that simple certificate authentication. They say DigiLocker hai na, why you need that? Okay, universities. We did a POC with a big autonomous college in Andhra Pradesh. Now they say that you check with JNTU. I went to JNTU, we give us so many, everybody is excited. Sir, you have to talk to UGC. UGC will say that, okay, you talk to the HRD minister, then you lost. No need. Okay. Now the same use case. Here is the interesting thing. 3 smart guys from US, they approach us. They say, sir, we want to do this. And they want to tokenize everything. I say, it's a good thing that all your certificate you can tokenize and give a wallet to the, let's say you are applying for a job, they can verify. But they don't have a platform. So we're sharing that. So somewhere, somehow you'll get that. Your innovation is not going to go get rushed. Okay, there might not be a proper market right now, but again, you can get that product out any point of time. Second thing is that don't think that biggies they are doing so much of things. I'll tell you a simple use case of a repo. If you know that repo is a interbanking lending between one bank to other bank or between RBI to the banks for a short-term lending. We created a use case. Right now, let me tell you, Amazon Global, they are going to use our solution. And I have done a deal with that POC, we are going to charge a good amount they're giving us. For the inter-country transactions they are using, that blockchain. These are the real use cases of blockchain. I'm not talking into the crypto side, I'm not talking into the currency side. There are values. See, ultimately, it has to evolve. But again, you look at the mainstream blockchain application, these are the things. Now I'm talking to one of the state government to manage their ERP, EC, what is that called? Civil construction or the infrastructure, EPC construction. They want to use the blockchain to find out where is the delay, why is the delay, what is the mismatch of the contract, all these things. So these are the real use cases what is going to get into that. But again, too much of taking, sorry, for the developer, it's sometimes get you lost. Okay, see, I've seen so many companies, they just got into, so many startups, they got into creating their own protocol, but again they got lost somewhere. Look into this side of the guys, use cases. What are the good use cases where you can give a kind of a simple solution for a common man or see, this simple thing is that right now UPI, these are the creator of India government UPI. UPI is become such a strong, powerful team with small people. A small vendor can use that. So that sort of a things you should look into that. So here is the interesting thing. Of course, I am going to share you the video. Think of something what you create an impact for triple bottom line. What we say, it's planet, people, and your profit. You make profit, but you create a values out there. That should be the thing, and you will get wonders out there.
Wonderful. Thanks, Praveen. Just to wrap this up and come into the last part of this conversation. If you were to build a blockchain or a Web3 startup today, what would be the ideas that you would validate, think, and recommend young founders or young developers to solve problems for?
I have multi exposure on that. Yeah, sir. I have multi exposure on that. So I would say try to see if you can go with the trend. Like, right now if you look at the trend, okay, AI is the trend. Okay, so people are going to look at AI applications. So can you make something around AI and blockchain? It's hard, but if you can do it, you can do it. Then next thing coming up, social media and blockchain. Okay. Can you make some consumer applications on top of say Lens protocol? Anything that can diversify but does not break a law. Like you can't go and try to sell trans on blockchain. Okay, you get different. Trust me now, US government tracks every transaction. I consult for some companies here and there, so I can see what exactly is happening. In some cases I saw definitely there was a trade done on the IP address when they were doing a blockchain transaction, and that's how they got that. So yeah, so don't break any law. Try to see what is the upcoming thing. And we should be good. So AI tools, consumer tools, or content and social media tools. And the hot baby is now zero knowledge tools. Something around that, I will try to look at it. And before finalizing the idea, I will just try to see if I can make a big prototype, take to the market, talk to people, they are going to use that. The other way around, what you can also do is if it's about figuring out is the idea right or wrong. So there are not thousands of incubators out there in blockchain world. Everybody wants to find the next 100x startup. Okay, so I'll go and talk to them. Try to see what they're saying. There's this Woodstock right behind. I think they're one of the amazing guys who are doing a good show from Indian ecosystem. I think I know them from 6 years now. Then Capcom is there. When you look at Indian ecosystem, when you look at outside ecosystem, Outlier is there. And there are at least 10 other people who are trying to build that. And other way around is try to see if somebody who is close to that kind of a product, similar product, say, like if there is something like multi-chain, like I'm a multi-chain, like many people know me, so I can launch products on multiple chains. And if their product is going to be multiple, they can come and talk to me. But there is somebody else who is like a consumer app focus. Then they will go and talk to the guys who are in consumer app focus. There's hiring segment. Then they can go and talk to hiring companies and figure it out. So we can try to see if there's any other founder who is similar space and go and talk to him. They can also give you some insights. Web3 world is very open. It's not typical Web2 world where the people say they're busy and they try to run away. They generally tend to give you 5-10 minutes. Other day, I competed as I was telling you about ZKP and David hasn't known me, but I was grateful enough for him to give me 5 minutes first. And we discussed on something, like I'm stranger to him, but he was discussing everything, even though he's kind of a big company's hardest project. So there's a few ways you can do it. The problem always with blockchain world is like, the number of users. There are not too many real users. So you need to be careful on that. Frankly speaking, like nobody speaks on this thing openly. Like you never know, will you get real users or are you able to hype it so much? Okay, if you're really good at hyping, you can sell anything else in blockchain. And if you're able to get real users, something like it, and in Banya, I always believe in that. Banya हो तो धंधा करो, profit दिखाओ, ये traction बताओ. अभी नया वर्ल्ड में तो बट्टू वर्ल्ड में तो traction use करेंगे, real traction, not faking traction. So yeah, these are some quick things. Super.
Thanks. Thanks, sir. Prabir, from your point of view, if you were to restart and build a new company, what would you look at? What do you see the opportunities?
Right now, people understand, blockchain is not crypto. So there are a lot of real world use cases. Look at the infrastructure side. See, the blockchain or the tokenization gives you a kind of a ownership with a fraction, right? You can buy this property on a fraction basis. So that's the tokenization. So asset fractionalization or infrastructure fractionalization, that's coming in a big time. I know one or two startups who are doing it good. So you can buy a fraction of that particular property using blockchain. You can also sell fraction of that. So that's going to be the big thing. So then you talk of supply chain. Supply chain, blockchain, footprint, connecting it to the climate, that's going to come in a big way. I know in Hyderabad there's a DLT Labs, anybody might be knowing, they are doing a big supply chain on the blockchain. Yes, there are a lot of new things are coming up. But again, my way of thinking that for a moment, if you're a techie, just switch off that techie mindset, think that can this be solved using simple properties of blockchain, trust, transparency, traceability, or immutability. Can I give something? Then your things will get needed. So that's the way you have to think it of. So design thinking, yesterday I was in an event in Mumbai, they said that design thinking is going to get you good thought process, how to get into that. But for the first thing, you don't connect your tech into somewhere. First you try to find out whether there is a good use case and how it can be adaptable out there. So generally what we do now, okay, I created a protocol, let me create use cases around that. But first find out some use cases, so there has to be some sort of a differential thought process. So I call it MADD. Think differently, think differently differently. So that's the way of you have to get into the things. So that's the part of the thought process. Of course, experience is going to count a lot out here. But as I said, first you create a prototype, find out whether there is a use cases and whether there is a future scope of. But again, one thing you have to be very specific. You have to be ready to scrap that idea or build on that idea. That's a pivoting. You have to keep on doing that. Then only speculative driven. Thank you.
And when we say prototype, not a full prototype, it can be like a front end. Okay, if you spend making a huge product and nobody is ready to use it, it's completely scrapped off course.
At Foundership, we use this phrase that fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Right? So Shubham would have heard from us for a very long time. Because the more you fall in love with a problem, you will end up having more than one ways to solve that problem. But if you fall in love with the solution, you have forgotten for which problem are you solving. You are focused more on the solution rather than trying to find alternate solutions for that problem. Right? So this, thank you gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. And great perspective from an entrepreneur trying to look at new ideas and take it forward. Thank you so much for coming in today. Pleasure. A big round of applause, please. So now that we had a perspective from the founders, we would love to invite Prashant from Woodstock to hear his perspectives. As an investor, what does he look at? What are the trends that they foresee for the upcoming years in the Web3, and we'll have that short conversation. Thanks, Prashant. So Prashant, why don't we start with your introduction, your background, how did you get into starting up, becoming a partner at Woodstock, what were you doing before that, a quick introduction and then we can jump in.
Sure. Hi everyone, and thanks to Foundership for having me here. I am from Hyderabad. I grew up here, and then I did my engineering and MBA from Guwahati and Calcutta, and then I was like Prabir, I was also an investment banker for 10 years in London with Morgan Stanley, and then 2018 I moved back to India, back to Hyderabad, because I wanted to do something in the country and also in digital assets. So I started off as an entrepreneur. Tried building an exchange, a P2P brokerage, pivoted multiple times, so understand the pain, didn't succeed, so so then I became a PC. No, just kidding. So I did that for 2 years, stopped it when COVID hit, when the lockdown started, and then I was just figuring out what to do next, but because I have this background in investing in banking, and I've also done entrepreneurship in digital assets for a couple of years. I was just looking at the investment space. It kind of felt like the right mix of my qualities, right? And then Woodstock just happened. I just started speaking to the guys, and they were looking for a partner with institutional background. So yeah, that's pretty much how I started off. So this was Q1 2021, just 2 years ago. Now I'm a partner. I handle our institutional relationships, and I also manage our second fund. So Woodstock, for all those who don't know, we are the largest Web3 focused VC to come out of India. Started in 2019. Our focus is only Web3, so we invest across the stack. And we have two funds, Fund 1 and Fund 2. Between these two, we can invest anywhere from pre-seed all the way to Series A, and also take positions in listed tokens. So yeah, and we have focus on India. I would say it's a USP, but we are a global fund. We have invested in around 18 different countries. Made some 75 plus investments already in the 4 years that we've been existing. So,
fantastic. Want to share some of your popular wins in your portfolio to begin with?
Sure. I mean, out of the 75, I would say around 68 are early stage projects, half of which are not yet listed either. So, of course, no one would have mostly heard of them. But okay, if I had to count the winners, then we were one of the first checks into a layer 1 called Elrond out of Romania. Then we were one of the first checks into Covalent, which is an indexing platform like the Graph. So we led their seed, private, and we also took a big position out of Fund 2. Then we are also one of the bigger investors into Piconomy, which is again a middleware solution. Other than that, we have done Propine and Engrave, which are more on the custodian hardware side, one from Singapore, the other from Belgium. And we did Near Protocol as well, but we didn't do it in the early stages, so I wouldn't call it as a win as such. Then what else? So we've done Eternity on the NFT side, we've done Paraswap on DeFi, which is also the early stage we did, etc. So I guess it goes across the stack. And there are again like a lot of projects which on paper may not be winners just yet, but we are quite bullish about them, mostly in the gaming infrastructure sector and also within the middleware.
Fantastic. Now, over the last 12 months or 9 months in particular, right, with the start of the Luna crash, Terra, Luna, and then with the FTX, as an accelerator, we have seen a huge difference in the thought process of new ideas being thought of and the type of founders who are now trying to build on. Between last year and now, what are you seeing the difference on the type of startups that are trying to raise funds?
So between last year and now, I think it's become more difficult for startups to raise, I would say. Again, like mid of last year, in fact, like late 2021, early 22 was like pretty much like the ICO boom. People were raising, not on like absolute ridiculous just white papers alone, which was also happening, but more on the valuation side. People were just raising pre-product at like 50 to 70 million or even 100 million, and if you were from the West, then it would be even higher. People were still investing in them. We took a very prudent stance not to invest in such projects, also because we don't have the capital of a Paradigm or an A16Z, right? So we have to be a lot more discretionary in how we invest. I would say the type of projects that are getting funded now are those which have a use case which resonates a lot better from a long-term perspective, and more, I would say, the focus has gone down into the middleware and infrastructure side, and also into periphery like crypto rails on payments, or custody, hardware wallet, etc. So whatever can bring in new set of users or capital and help the technology under the hood become more formidable, I think that is where most of the investments are going. Valuation also, I would say, for a period of time, it was better to just take positions in the public markets because there was better risk reward. So, for instance, why would you invest in a new layer 1 at 300 million without a mainnet when you can, invest into like a lot of prominent layer 1s which have scaled back by like 80-90%. So that was the thought process, right? Now I would say in the private markets, valuation has become a lot more sensible. So I guess it becomes, behooves us to look at that a lot more. But those are the changes that have happened over the last 1 year.
Fantastic. Well, today, if looking from your vantage point of where you are right now, where do you see for the next 5 years, the horizon for early stage founders to find or to look for opportunities, which are either unexplored or there's a big gap where there are very fewer players, but it's a large market. What are the areas you see?
Yeah, so I'll give a first very short answer. So I written like a very elaborate thesis about Web3, which is on our website for everyone to read. It's our view on how we see Web3 as a space exploding over the next decade. So it's a pretty long-term view, and within that we have identified themes that we're looking at a high level, and then gone deeper into them in terms of how we see the stack developing and what are the various opportunities that come by, right, in the process. So I would encourage everyone to read that to get a much better view than what I can cover in a couple of minutes. In addition, I also do a podcast called Web3 Normies with a good friend Raghu from Strike. So we try to invite a lot of projects from like areas of focus that we think will do very well, right? So we've done one on liquid staking derivatives with Stater. We did one with RPC nodes, Infura. Then we did one with layer 2 focused on scaling, which is Mantle network, and we are trying to bring Scroll, etc. as well, right? So the way we do the podcast is concentrate on prevalent themes and have like an India flavor to it. Try to bring founders who are working on these themes from out of India. So just these are two things I would say I would just encourage people to kind of stay on top of. It gives like a lot more ongoing perspective of how we look at things as a fund. But if I have to now drill down, then there's still a lot of opportunities. I would definitely back what Prabir was mentioning in terms of less focus on technology and more on user experience. That is something we are also extremely focused on. But that happens more on the consumer side of things, right? And consumer-wise, the area that we are super focused on right now is the intersection of NFTs and brands. Because even through the bear market, etc., what is resonating is the utilization of NFTs for loyalty programs, branding, and marketing by a lot of global brands, and that's caught on massively. Partly thanks to Polygon due to their BD, but also because they see this as like a way of attracting a new set of users and making those users a lot more loyal to them, right? So this by itself opens up a lot of opportunities in this intersection. How do you create a lot of tooling for these brands? How do you start giving more attribution? Is there a way to make these things interoperable? Then how do you create the user experience so that it's not everyone who's like a Nike fan has to go through the entire MetaMask experience, right? Can you do something that is more semi-custodial, which is through your social logins, right? So that is one area we are super focused on. The other area is all of middleware that we are focused on, which is, so just to elaborate further, so technology layer is where you have your layer 1s and layer 2s. We think that is fairly crowded. There is no, I mean, I'm not saying never say never as a VC, but it's difficult for a new layer 1 or a new layer 2 to compete against the ones that already have network effects out there, right? So it's difficult to back something in that space unless it has like a very nuanced differentiator that we believe can scale in the long term. But middleware is basically this layer which connects your technology to your applications and makes applications a lot more scalable, because you have like indexing protocols, you have Oracle services, digital identity, credit scoring, and all these features that you need to develop in the middleware, so that your applications can make a lot more sense and better experience for your end users. So that is an area we are super focused on. And the final one is everything around the periphery. So are there like any good on-ramps and off-ramps which are better than the existing ones? Then are there like institutional custody solutions which are regulated or licensed, which can be trusted by institutions as they start entering more and more, right? So these are like 3 different areas, I would say, that we are focused on. DeFi we have scaled back a bit for now because of the regulatory concerns around it, but we are still looking for any primitive solutions coming for like problems that we have identified as a fund. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, as a very early stage pre-seed type of a startup, when they come to raise money either with Woodstock or from any other fund, what do you suggest from a strategy approach point of view from their business to raise via token, if they have a token play, to raise via equity, to do both? At what stage would you recommend them to do either or do both in parallel?
I see, to me, unless it's a layer 1 which has a very natural utility for tokens, or if it is a product where you are able to pass on revenues to your token holders, again it's a difficult thing because it might be categorized as a security. Unless there is a very natural utility, it's very difficult to justify why you need a token to begin with, right? So, in my opinion, unless you have defined a very good utility for a token, it's better to go the equity route with a token warrant. And it only makes sense to have a token once you have like, your product has resonated, you have some sort of like an early product market fit, do the business in a way regular business is done without requiring a token, right? And then the token can become an incentive layer for you to scale up as a business. Otherwise, I mean, I don't see why most projects want to raise on a token and launch a token before even you have identified what your product market fit is.
Very true, very true. And also, many projects don't need a token actually, right? They only think that everyone is doing it, so I also need to bring in a token.
See, the biggest problem in having a token, if you don't need one, is your focus entirely goes towards protecting the token's price, and then you've just lost track of your business. Whatever you need to do in terms of your go-to-market, your product refinement, A/B testing, target segment identification, all of that goes to dogs. You just focus on your token price, and then that's a very difficult project to back as well at any point, right? And to be honest, even if VCs are forcing you to kind of like do a token or launch a token, you as a founder and you as a team need to be convinced that it's the right time for you to do it, right? Because effectively this is your dream, not the VC's dream. So yeah, I'm not saying a bearish on tokens. I just don't think anyone without a natural utility should launch it before having a product market.
How, in your perspective, what do you define as a token utility? How does a founder look to understand or even design token utility? Or as an investor, when someone approaches you that I'm doing a token round, how do you analyze and identify the core token utility value?
See, to me, utility is very simple, right? Why will people want to buy my token or hold my token? Where is the demand being generated for my token, right? So, if you look at Ethereum, if you want to transact on the Ethereum blockchain, you need Ether, right? So there is a natural demand for wanting to hold Ether because otherwise you're not interacting with the Ethereum blockchain. So that's very natural. Similarly now, if you look at, for example, say DYDX, okay, when they do their V4, most likely they will pass on their treasury revenues to token holders, right? Then it kind of, there is a value to hold this token because like a stock I get dividends from time to time which is passing on of these revenues, right? So I can make a case for the demand in these cases. Now, if you tell me that, hold my tokens, take it somewhere, you'll get more tokens, that is not sustainable, right? Or if you tell me, just take my token and you will be part of the governance, that also doesn't work. Even though it's like ethos-wise, it makes a lot of sense, but most people who are holding tokens don't really participate in governance, right? It's just like either the VCs or the whales who participate, and everyone is just delegating to them. So the governance itself does not have like a lot of utility, unless it is a project like Uniswap, but the Uniswap only launched after getting a product market fit anyways, right? So demand. It's demand. How do you generate organic demand for your token is what the utility is in my mind. There's no other way around.
Got it. Interesting. Coming back to something that's happening out in India, right? You're part of the RBI Regulatory Sandbox governance team. So there are two conversations happening at the government narrative. Right? One is they've launched the CBDC, and yet on the other side, their RBI is also very clear on not recognizing the authenticity and the validity of crypto. From the governance point of view, from where you are embedded into the ecosystem today, what are some of the Government of India initiatives on how they see leveraging CBDC, and what is the value that young entrepreneurs here and future entrepreneurs here can leverage from the sandbox?
See, Sandbox right now is being created by the government of Telangana. So there are only certain aspects that they can have authority on, like real estate, agriculture and land, that is within the state list, right? Most of the things around digital assets or even permissionless or even anything to do with the financial markets, tokenization is all under the purview of either SEBI or RBI. And that has to kind of be driven from the center, right? Having said that, I think this is a great initiative that the government has taken in Telangana, and they are focused on encouraging a lot of use cases that can bring utility of blockchain to certain asset classes within the state, right? There is no encouragement for cryptocurrencies as such. It's all blockchain, tokenization, and that side of things. To me, CBDC also does not really. It's antithesis to what we are doing on the permissionless world, right? So, but anyways, it's an important step that the government has taken to make currency a lot more proliferative, right? So that's what has happened. Now, where I think this should go next, in my opinion, is there has to be some sort of a regulation, mostly driven from the center, on how the permissionless technology can evolve and innovate within India. And anything that the RBI or SEBI is uncomfortable with, to just put it out there and then have like a very elaborate public-private discussion or debate on what can work, what cannot work, and what is the middle ground, right? Because I don't see there are like tax, money laundering, impact on rupee through adoption of dollarization of cryptocurrencies. Other than this, I don't think there is like any serious problem as such. Now, can we solve this through like new policies? I'm very sure we can, but it needs a lot more, I would say, focus and drive from the government to want it.
Interesting. Trying to wrap up this conversation, any piece of advice and perspective on young entrepreneurs trying to build or trying to start Web3 businesses today, how they should look at raising capital versus when they should raise capital?
If you're a founder, startup who's coming into Web3, I think the first step you need to do is build conviction in Web3 yourself, right? And conviction in Web3 is not about launching a token and how much can I earn through it, right? Conviction in Web3 is, are you sold into the ethos that Web3 is creating? Now again, as Sainath mentioned, it's not about buying guns on the dark web or something. That's not what we're trying to address here. Can we create like a more open community where users of products and networks are the people who are incentivized the most and who have the control, who have a lot more decision making, right? That is pretty much the ethos of Web3. You need to buy into that and also have done sufficient research to know that what you're building really has a market out there, right? Because we do come across a lot of projects who want to build something because they believe it will be great, but is the technology ready for it, and do we have sufficient number of users that will come in the next 5 years to utilize such a product, right? And these are difficult questions to ask, but better to ask now rather than, after 2 years once you've spent that much time. Now, assuming you have conviction, assuming you have done the research and you want to do something, fundraise is no different from Web2, right? In my opinion, it's more like, have you done an MVP and have you identified like the initial set of customers who will want to use your product on a sticky basis? Who is going to use it? Who is going to pay for it? Right? That is always a question that you need to ask. The closer you are to answering these questions, the easier it is to get the funding. Right? And no VC out there will like say if you have identified a problem, you've identified a user, will say no to it. Now, I'm not saying you should have like a big ARR or something, but the easiest way to demonstrate traction is by identifying a niche and even if you get like a few people to try it and like give you feedback and it has gone from a 0 to not 1 but even like 0.3, that's a great story to sell at that point from your perspective.
Fantastic. With this we'll come to a wrap. Prashant, thank you so much. Big round of applause for Prashant. Thank you so much for taking time and coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll now move to an interesting showcase of Ariel, where Shubham will talk about what he's building and how each one of you can engage. And especially if you're a content creator, you should look to adopt to this platform. Shubham?
Hi. Hello everyone. So for all the people who are listening, just very simple question. When you come here, when you listen to someone, how important do you think is your time? It's important, right? And I'm speaking like my time is also important. So what if I tell you that okay, you're listening to me, because your time is important, I'm gonna give you something. Okay, it's gonna be some NFT or some crypto. It's gonna be worth something. Okay. So and I'm not joking here. I mean that is something which is really gonna happen. You guys are gonna get it. You guys are going to get something out of it. But there is a catch. So. Yes. So a few years back, I was just scrolling through Reddit, and there was a time when I understood that the education system is not doing anything for me. Whatever I have to learn, that has to come from the internet. So I watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books, and listened to a lot of podcasts. Then I went to Reddit, and I just wanted to understand what's happening with this creators industry. And then I realized that platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts are not paying a single penny to these creators. And that is where it bugged my mind in order to create a solution for these people where the voice that they put on their podcast, the videos that they make, and the articles that they write even, should be monetized. They should get something out of it. But most importantly, when I was researching about it, I understood the fact that these social media platforms are actually even recording the amount of time that you spend on every single post. This data is collected, sold on to the data mining companies, and they earn billions and billions of dollars. Well, Web3 is all about participation. When we are consuming some content, we are investing our time. When we are creating some content, well, we are investing a lot of our times. So I came up with we came up with Oriel. It's a super incentivization protocol for creator economies, and this is where things get interesting. So So today, when we talk about, so when we see the content industry, I mean, you can actually monetize your content on YouTube. Well, you can wait for 3 months, or you can have 10,000 subscribers. If you're monetizing music or audio video podcast, it's very difficult. More than 90% of the audio video podcast on this planet is actually unmonetized. And even if you are in the top 10%, well, that amount is not that fair when you are in top 1%. If you are in 0.01% of the podcast, well, apparently you're in New York Times, where the monthly revenue is somewhere around $472,000 just because of ads. Well, you are investing so much of time, you cannot really go and search for ads and sponsors because the content that you make is valued by people and you have to research a lot, you don't really have time. So let's tokenize time, let's incentivize based on time. So just in the audio podcasting industry, it's growing at 20.9% rate. There are more than 1 billion crypto users in the world, and the value is going to go up till $43 billion by 2032. And this is just the podcasting industry. We're not even coming into the video industry. When somebody asks me if you're competing with YouTube, well, that's going to happen. But this is something which is not here. But if you can still monetize on YouTube, okay, just get 10,000 subscribers or wait for 3 months, fill a form. If your account is not approved, please wait again, come again, and come again. So we built a very simple incentivization layer where anyone, including your listeners, if you are a creator, all you have to do is just ensure that whatever you are creating anywhere in the world, any platform whatsoever, if you integrate Oriel, you can monetize that content instantly, no matter where you are. So what we have is, we have engaged to win model, we have attention tokenomics, we have streaming sats. So if somebody is watching your video or somebody is listening to your podcast, well, you as a creator are going to get paid in Bitcoin. We have proof of sharing. Just like if you are a creator, if your audience is sharing the link on platforms like Twitter and Reddit, well, they're going to be incentivized. We have POAP and SBD tokens, which ensures that some kind of gated content or exclusive content is only exclusive to the people who hold those NFTs. And yeah, we have crypto fiat donations powered by unstoppable domains, where you as a creator are going to receive donations. But yeah, this entire thing, when we think about it, it's so verbose that it's very difficult to understand for people who are not really aware about Web3. But let's see the impact of this. So we have been working on this for the last 2 years, and we are still in beta. But this is where we are introducing Oriel. So we are creating a protocol, and on that protocol we are building a platform specifically for podcasters, and you guys can actually do the same thing. And what's happening is that until now, where podcaster was not monetizing from platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but if you like a podcast, just give it a quote, the podcast is going to generate value. 100 times better than Spotify, 10 times better than YouTube. And this is not a mock-up, this is actually a screenshot. So all the data that you see here is actually real. So no matter where you are, you might be on Spotify, you might be on YouTube. Well, if you have a playlist, put your RSS feed on Oriel. It's a 3-step verification process. Once you are done, no matter where you publish your content, it is still monetized. And yeah, all those incredible terminologies that I used about proof of sharing, attention tokenomics, and all, let's see the impact. We have 69,000 hours of content only, and the last year we monetized this content up to more than $850,000 without ads and without sponsors. And we have generated around 41K plus revenue with $3,000 MRR every single month. But yeah, this looks good. But what is in it for you? I mean, if you're a developer, you're still enabling the creators to actually create something incredible. I mean, the amount of content that is shadow banned, the amount of content that is censored, is still a problem. So why not you want to create something different, or why not you as a creator want to actually get the value of what you deserve? So yeah, you can simply monetize your content, or you can launch your own distribution channel, or you can launch your own audio. Because at the end, when you're putting so much of effort, your voice is actually worth something. And that is what we are here to do. So we are just introducing audio protocol. It's going to come into the market very, very soon, but just enjoy the platform, because we are bringing in social audio, we are bringing in live podcasting, and all the attention tokenomics, all the POAP tokens, and all the engagement models are still going to give you the value for your attention and the value for the content that you create. So thank you so much. You can follow Oriel on Twitter, and you can actually scan this QR code to join our community and just see what's happening. And just make sure that you're claiming your account, because we are actually limiting the number of accounts that you're providing to the users. So thank you so much. Any questions?
So, if I understood correctly, you already monetized your. So a while back when we were speaking there, so I think I misheard how much revenue you generated.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, but I think you should come in, and you do qualify for that dial scheme. So yeah, we'll see you in 2 months' time for a pitch. I'll also try to introduce you to another VC. I'm sorry, I don't know whether this is the right platform to say this or not, but just speaks in my mind. All right, thank you.
Sorry,
You mentioned it took a couple of years for you to build the.
I can't hear you properly, sorry.
Sorry, wonderful platform first of all. But I heard you mention that it took a couple of years to get to where you are now.
Yes.
Can you tell us that journey and why it took that much time?
Okay, are you? Yeah. So in terms of like what my morale was, or what type of technical advantages or disadvantages?
Why did it take you 2 years is what I'm trying to understand. For somebody who's starting new in blockchain,
Yeah.
they are trying to understand if it will take that much time to build a platform, then your journey.
So interestingly, before even starting to work on this, I was working in this company called Cryptex Financial, and it was in Hyderabad itself. But I was the guy who did not understand blockchain, did not understand Web3. Even Web3 wasn't a term back then. So while I was working there, I was so fascinated by this. But still, the disadvantage where I did not understand certain things, I used it to my advantage to actually find the real world scenarios where certain solutions can be implemented. So I was the first few members of this blockchain called Steve. Later it had a hard fork. So we started working on it, and later on we had Steemit actually had a hostile takeover by Justin Sun, Tron Foundation. And that is where we were like, okay, let us do a hard fork and let us build high blockchain and remove all the vulnerabilities that were there. And then we started rebuilding again, and we have ensured that the reward distribution that we have actually developed into that blockchain is something which is actually sustainable, and it is actually able to provide value. But interestingly, I do not really have so much of a developer background. Just like any other founder, I can actually code a little bit, but when it comes to the implementation of certain solutions offered by a chains is something which I can identify, and it has been a topsy-turvy ride basically. But we started generating revenue when our community actually decided that okay, you guys should have a revenue model. But until then, we were already going crazy. People started loving us, not because that we were built on blockchain or we were doing this or we were doing that. We actually solved a pretty interesting pain problem for these people where they saw a very swift solution, and we started getting the users bombarding in. And just because the users actually came in and there were so many bugs, either we were solving the ones which were already existing or we were creating new features. And this entire platform has been built by just 2 people, including me, so that is something which took time. And it wasn't that easy, but I'm still pretty happy that we're here. Thank you. Any more questions? So thanks so much. I'll be here. If anyone wants to ask any question, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks Shubham. A big round of applause for Shubham. Fantastic. So while you guys have been patient audience and listening to everyone who's been on stage, at Foundership, as I said, we believe in giving back as well. So this is an opportunity where we'll invite anyone who raises their hand. We can do a quick 3-minute pitch about who you are, what you do, and you want any early adopters, what sort of help you want, what can you give back, what can you offer to the people out here is something that we would encourage you to come and talk about. So who wants to go first? Charu, come. Great. So congratulations for raising your hand first. Please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charu, and I'm co-founder of 2 startups. One is Woodbox, which is, and both the startups are based in sustainability. Woodbox is a product-based startup which we started around 6.5 years ago. It started as a B2C platform, then looking at how things were moving, we pivoted and we moved it to a B2B platform. So essentially we partnered with different type of institutions, organizations, etc. and help them switch to more sustainable procurement, sustainable raw materials, etc. The second startup, which is Pro0Carbon, is something that evolved from our experience in sustainability, and we realized that to make sure that you create an impact which is huge, especially in industries and organizations, because 70% of the carbon emissions are because of industries. We moved into this vertical where we are helping different type of organizations like manufacturing, whether it is nutraceutical companies, etc., to lower their carbon emissions. So this is more, so we started off as working on ground action. So we work with these companies and we understand their whole operation, supply chain, logistics, procurement, sitting with the promoters or different departments, and then help them in whatever ways they can reduce their emissions, reduce their carbon footprint. But we are now in process of building a climate tech solution which could help them simplify the entire process of doing it, helping them to record their carbon emissions and carbon accounting and different ESG and sustainability metrics on a platform which could help them simplify. What we are doing is we are not building it on our own. We are trying to co-build it so that we understand what are the real problems and we understand what different sectors, different industries are going through, and then build it for them while taking inputs from them. So, and reason of building it on blockchain is, I'm sure, transparency and other things, and Prabir and everyone spoke about it very well. So we are trying to leverage it and we are trying to build something which could help create an actual impact. Well, the country and the world has a dream of net zero and carbon neutral, but it's not easy, and it is because we have worked closely with so many different types of companies. We know that half of them also don't understand what carbon neutrality is, let alone trying to reach carbon neutral goals. So we are trying to simplify the entire process and see what we can do to achieve this. So the problem is that, and as Sam was mentioning, that focusing on the problem and then trying to find what different ways we can solve this problem. So we thought that blockchain could be one of the methods which can actually help solve this problem. So that's what we are trying to do. And what I can give. So this Pro0Carbon is relatively new, but I'm in the space of sustainability and building a startup from scratch, bootstrapping it, and then in process of raising fund in a different way for it. So if anyone wants to talk, network for Hyderabad startup, etc., then I'm happy to kind of interact and talk. And what else you mentioned?
What help do you need from the community?
Right. So in terms of help, I think if anyone knows blockchain and would like to interact and see how we can integrate our expertise and actually build something which can help solve a problem as big as climate change, because I think we need more people to kind of come together in this ecosystem and do something, then I would be happy to get that help. Or also connecting us with people who are on policy level and people who could help us actually, create policies and things which can create a difference and really work on this rather than, the fluff. And it's cool to be in sustainability space, but it's difficult when it comes to actually making an impact. So any help, every kind of help is something that we welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you. Next. Yes. One of you both.
Hi everyone, I'm Divya and he is Sai Kiran. We are from the Technology Innovation Hall from IIT Patna. Yeah, we're coming all the way from Patna. So we basically are an incubator of startups and we are funded by the government, central government, that is Ministry of Science and Technology, Department of Science and Technology to be specific. So I'll just have Sai speak more about us and what are we looking at over here and what can we also get. See, being an incubator, I think I solved for that bet that we are here, we have funds from the government in order to fund the startups that are coming under different schemes. I think the details of which he can share, or we can connect later to save more time. So over to you. Yeah.
Thanks, Sandra. So first thing first, I'm a Sarkari CEO for a Sarkari organization, right? Second thing, we engage at 4 different levels with you guys. One, as she already mentioned, we incubate startups. We provide seed support at an equity. We also get you a go-to-market strategy in case it's as required. But we would like to do that actually for you. So because this is taxpayer money which we are giving to you, so it has to have a return, right? So if your startup fails because you don't have a go-to-market strategy, then that's bad for the taxpayer money. So that's something I need to take care of. Third thing I engage in is co-development of technologies. So let's say you don't have a resource, for example, a human resource, or maybe you don't have a GPU or a computer or a system. So I can provide you that. I can provide you 2 PhD students along with a professor. I'll fund them. They'll develop the product for you. They get a PhD thesis. They are happy. You get a product. You are happy. There is an IP. We can share. We all are happy. So that is something I can give and take from you. The fourth area where I engage with you guys is that to develop a workforce in deep technologies. See, okay, let me introduce properly who I am. So my name is Sai. I'm a PhD in electrical engineering. I have, with great stroke of luck, I got 16 patents, out of them 8 are US patents in the field of wireless power transmission. So I'm the first few guys on earth who was able to transmit power using electromagnetic fields across shipping containers. So that's a record I hold. I did 16 meters of wireless power transmission on a ship. So that was from cabin to cabin, which is actually not possible for other guys. In the beginning, when I came up with this tech, people thought I was crazy or I was bluffing. And it took me 7 years to prove it. And I'm 41 years old. So I spent 7 years of my prime onto that. Then I joined IIT Tirupati as an assistant professor. I didn't like it. I went back to South Korea where I completed my PhD. I started a company based out of my patents. It led to 3 companies. 2 of them are still making profit. 1 of them have been acquired by Hyundai Heavy Industries, which is a shipbuilding unit. After that, I was selected as a foreign talents professor. I went there to China, of all places. That was 2019. Then 2020 happened. I came for a holiday here, and I couldn't go back. So, like all of you guys, I was working from home in a limited way. And then I got into the entrepreneur inside me kept challenging me, right? So I got back to a little bit of my own adventure story. But that's where sustainability comes for me. So I organized one very large sustainability conference dedicated to sustainability. So that SDG, yeah, more specifically. So that happened, and then I went back to Korea. Then I came back here to IIT Patna because this role was actually very satisfying for me, to incubate and build an ecosystem for startups. So, so when I joined here, I joined this 6 or 7 months ago. That was September. I joined a program called National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber-Physical Systems. So this is a Prime Minister of a PMO office level initiative from the Department of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Science and Technology. So all is good, but my location is Patna. So the first few months I was struggling in incubating startups. I had 0 startups to start with. BSC wanted to shut it down. And I scouted to Hyderabad, good old Hyderabad. I got 2 startups from here, 1 from Bangalore, and that's when things really took a flight for us. So we are now 8 startups strong, but I have to achieve 25 startups at least. Okay, but then 35 is a bare minimum target. I think 50 is a good number. So we've got good amount of funding. So feel free to pitch in at our place. We are also working with a venture capitalist firm called Cognify LLP. So they are actually into startup funding. So the way we work with them is that they commit certain amount of fund, we commit matching fund, or we commit to a fund and they commit to a matching fund. For example, we raised 30 lakh rupees for one company called Travel. And they also did a 30 lakh rupee raise for that same company. So like that, we are actually working with them. I would be also interested to engage with VCs, if there are any. And also, co-development of technologies is something where I'm lacking. So this is where I need your help from the community. If you want, you can come in, if you like that offer, right? So we can, I don't work on your area. Boy, it just jumped over my head. I don't even know anything about Web3. I don't even know anything about blockchain. Only thing I ever knew was that you can detect video tampering from blockchain. That is the only thing I know about blockchain. Okay, so I think I made a pitch. Now we can talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks. Anybody else? Who's next? Pawan, why don't you come on? Yeah, sorry, Pranav. Rakesh, you are next.
Hi guys. This one. My name is Pranav. I'm the co-founder of MetaBuild. So keep it simple language. Okay. Who we are? We are a B2B SaaS tech firm in Web3 that connects Web3 to e-commerce. What we do, we generate revenue for e-commerce stores by driving Web3 traffic. What do I need? Entrepreneurship and founders, there are 3 main things which we always need. Access to capital, access to customers, access to talent. So I'm open to all of that. Happy to talk to anyone over here in this group about if you are interested in e-commerce, if you are part of e-commerce, want to be part of Web3, or if you are interested in getting into the Web3 space as a developer, anything like that, just let me know. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for organizing this, and happy to interact with everyone as the evening goes on. Thank you.
What can you give?
2 things I can give right now. One thing, as I said, we bring utility to Web3 influencers. That's part of our pitch. So I can onboard all the influencers for the podcast, so that today itself, the podcasters, the influencers, can give additional benefit as discounts, for example, to the people who listen to the podcast, all the customers that you have, for example. So that's one thing I can do. Second thing for IIT Patna, it's not me, but my network I feel extends to my wife. My wife is global, is senior director at HTS. and they are always interested in deep tech, and happy to co-develop, put him in touch with whoever to co-develop stuff. All right.
Sure. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rakesh. So one of the things that all of you should have the courage is to come here and talk when you have the opportunity. Right? Many times we as founders and we as wannabe founders struggle to take that initiative to come here. So when you have that opportunity, don't struggle, face your fear, come here. You may never know what opportunity opens up in front of you.
Right. Myself, Rakesh. So I'm co-founder for Fifth Ocean Studio. So in Fifth Ocean Studio, we are developing games based out of Indian mythology. So we have seen a particular gap in content which is from India. I mean, most people forget about. If you see games, right, most of them are from Greek mythology or Norse mythology. So we want to capture that market by Indian mythology. So we have started making game. It's called Devas vs Asuras. So it's a MOBA game. Particularly, we are building. For the moment, it will be released in the next summer. It will be Web 2, and then if everything works out, we will be moving in Web 3 space. You can own assets and also tokens, whatever is there, you can own it. So this is our product.
Sure. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
So, hello. I am Nitish Pranav. I am not a founder, co-founder or anything. I am just an intern at IIIT. So right now I am interning at a blockchain startup. So yeah, I just want to tell that if you guys need anything, any help from tech side, I am currently learning. I have been in this space for the past 2 months only. So I'm pretty interested in this technology. So if anyone wants help with technology or something like that, yeah, you can come up to me, I guess. So yeah, I got nothing else to give except for my time and brain.
More valuable.
Right now it isn't. Students are getting exploited, I guess.
Wonderful. Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Next. Tarun.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tarun. I'm the founder of Co-Karma Co-working Space. So first,
Big round of applause for him for the space today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dinesh. Co-Karma has 6 locations in Hyderabad. We have about 1,700 cities in the city. What we do as a company is we try to help companies get a space first, and then if they need any supporting services such as accounting, hiring, or any other service or capital that they're looking for, we try and connect people in our community so that they get that support, right? What I can offer today is the same support to you guys, right? So if you're looking for anything, you can reach out to us and you can tap into our network to connect you with people. What I ask today is one small thing. We do this as a community thing. So if you can go to Co-Karma's page and tag us and follow us, please do that as small, just as a give back, right? So thank you so much, guys, once again for being here. We have food, alcohol. Please don't waste it. There's a lot of food for everyone, so I request everyone to have food and go home.
You can take home also.
Yes, you can take home also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one? Last call. Chaitanya, I'm going to force you now. Come. It's okay, come. 3rd-year student, you can't be so shy like this. Come.
Hey guys, good evening everyone. This is Chaitanya. I'm BTech 3rd-year student from Anurag University. Basically, I am into Web3 from trading. I had invested up to 6 lakhs and I got 110% of profit from crypto. And then without knowing anything, I had invested 6 lakhs and I got 110 profit. Then I had started interest on what is the back of it, what technology is running this around Web3. Then I got to know about blockchain technology, and then I had took a course from IIT Kanpur, and I had done with 2 projects from IIT Kanpur, and I got certificate from PG certificate, professional PG certificate from Kanpur. Without completing my BTech, I got my PG certificate. And then I had attended this some Web3 meetings and got such nice community to help me. And basically after my BTech, I don't want to do job in some other companies. I want to start my own startup. Before starting my startup, I want to build a community first. By building community, I want to start my startup. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. See, you ended up do speaking about it. Fantastic. Anybody else? See, you have inspired two more people.
Yeah, Namaskar everyone. Myself Rudra Joshi. I'm currently working as a part of my day job as the Assistant General Manager of Applications Development at medical hospitals. So in all of our Indian hospitals as well as in Poland and all the 12 countries that we are there, I take after the whole IT and application side of it. So a little bit background about me. I initially was a student from the first year of my college. I was taking consulting gigs and consulting companies into data science and AI for the whole good 2-3 years. And while that was building up, aside from college, I was also working to build a couple of ventures. I mean, one of which was funded by Polygon also. We won the hackathon. But then sadly enough, all good thing comes to an end. So we lost that Matic tokens worth of $500 to some scam that perennially happens in crypto. And so after that, I learned it the hard way that maybe we should be focused more on Web 2. And so right now we are restarting our operations, and right now we are more into IoT and AI based services. That's the go-to market right now, and that's what the day job money goes into. So right now we are bootstrapped, looking to be bootstrapped for the longest amount of time, unless there's a use case that we can solve with Web 3. We are happy with Web 2, and what I can give is most amount of help in data science and what I've learned from consulting and some gigs. And what I seek is that's a very naive ask, but I am basically from Gujarat and I'm looking to make Hyderabad my home, and so that's what the effect of being an outsider out here is sometimes overwhelming, and so that's what seeking some good connections and networking is all I seek. And apart from it, I'll be happy to chat on whatever tech and otherwise discussions that we can bring up, and happy to help in many and all ways I can be of help. Yeah, and last things, I'm also getting to know a healthcare industry in and out. So I would like to appreciate and welcome any and all wellness and healthcare related products or brainstorms or anything that we can strike up. Yeah, that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Looks like everybody's losing money in crypto. Yeah. Anybody else? I think he's the only one left from your group. Please come on. No? That's fine. Yeah, thank you everyone. I was just playing the role of Yogesh because he had to go for a moment. He's back.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. One small request. Anything you want to, if you have taken pictures, you enjoyed the conversation, do tag at Foundership HQ on Twitter or at Foundership on LinkedIn. And do tag the fellow persons whom you interacted, exchange contacts, Telegram networks, join our communities, find out what communities are there doing, join them. That's the best way to contribute and get involved. Right, with this we come to a close. Thank you so much. Dinner and beverages are served. Enjoy your good evening. Thank you. Thanks once again to Kokarma, our event host. Thank you so much.
Hi.